Fuzzy, I'm going right to you on this. So Matty Plays got a chance to sit down in probably the highlight of his career with Todd Howard. It was a pretty unbelievable interview. Now, I will get into some of the finite points, but specifically to start off this conversation, this is a quote from Todd Howard, and I really do think that what this should sum up, and there's been so much talk of Xbox putting their games on PlayStation. And listen, Phil Spencer, during the interview with Ryan McCaffrey at IGN Live, basically said, we will be putting our games on other platforms. It's happening, folks. I don't like it. I'm never bending the knee to it. I'm an old man. I don't like the idea, but it's out of my hands. It is what it is. Does it affect me as a gamer? It actually doesn't, because I'm playing them first. I'm playing them in Xbox Game Pass. It's my preferred place to play. I like my achievements. I like Xbox Live. I like my friends list. That is where I'm going to play all these games. But I can say there is going to be a significant weight based on my opinion, Fuzzy Belvedere, on what Todd Howard had to say in this particular block that I want to read. Because if you're waiting for Shattered Space to be, the game, and Shattered Space DLC to be the launching pad for PS5, I think people are going to be waiting much longer than that. And here's why. Todd Howard said in this interview, we now have 3 big franchises: Fallout, The Elder Scrolls, and Starfield. Starfield with 14 plus million players and with an average playtime of over 40 hours per player. We have our hands full taking care of these players and franchises. Now, look, if I'm reading between the lines and somehow I'm getting it wrong, I'd be the first one to come out and say I got it wrong. I don't think that's the case. And here's why, Fuzzy Belvedere. Starfield, if it was being considered, and I say the word considered for PlayStation 5, it's because it's a money decision. And it's going to happen at some point. I don't think this is happening anytime soon, based on the last statement, the last sentence in this paragraph. We have our hands full taking care of all of these players and franchises. Now, The Elder Scrolls is probably launching in 2026, potentially, as a launch title for the new Xbox. The next Fallout, well, that's a bit of a funny one, because the TV series exploded on the scene. Every Fallout that was available to be purchased, they made $1 billion on the Fallout, old ass Fallout games. And now Todd Howard and team find themselves in a bit of a conundrum, because they got to continue work on Starfield. They got to continue work on Shattered Space. He confirmed that we are getting another premium DLC next year, along with continued updates. We still have to get the 2.0, which is going to give us the land vehicles. They're currently or I would even dare say neck deep in Elder Scrolls. They are panicking and rushing to figure out how the hell are they going to get Fallout 5 rolling. Where would they have the time for a PlayStation 5 version? I don't think that's coming anytime soon. What do you think?
I tend to agree. Like, for the most part, when it comes to Starfield, and I'm a strong believer that Bethesda Online is going to be at some point making a MMO version of Starfield. So there's going to be that potentially, or it could be a licensed IP. I know there's been rumors of something Star Wars possibly related, but I really think Bethesda Online is going to be doing a whole online spinoff of Starfield to some extent. But if they're already stretched to the limits now, where they've considered even having other teams within the Xbox, family, possibly work on a future Fallout, or maybe a spinoff like a New Vegas 2 or some other location that maybe Obsidian can take hold of, type of deal. I don't think they're going to have time to focus on a port, because then you also have to make sure that the new DLCs are going to work on that port, as well as the base game itself. And if you're already at your wits end, I mean, could they, expand the team to do so? Sure, but I think at the point where you have 14 million players, a combination of PC players that purchase it through Steam or PC players through PC Game Pass and purchases through the Microsoft Store and even purchases on Xbox or through Game Pass, which I'm pretty sure they sold a lot of that Shattered Space stuff as far as the DLC. So whether you bought the $100 edition or you bought the $30 upgrade, I think they had at least 2 million players that first day or whatever on Xbox. So a lot of people did that upgrade. So I don't think there's as much of a rush to, focus on porting it over. Will it eventually? Sure. But if they're going to come out with a PS5 Pro, then maybe they have to also have that into consideration when they do that. And they also have to figure out, well, we're going to also make sure that this stuff is compatible forwards. So whatever the next Xbox is, they're going to have to also make sure that they put the attention to making sure that this game is an easy transition for the next hardware, and what potential upgrades that new hardware will see. So they got their hands full. Could it happen? Sure. But I always was under the belief that like this is one of those things where the next gen Xbox comes out, they already have maybe a third or a next gen only DLC to add on as a spinoff, or maybe the Bethesda Online is the next gen only spinoff for current Starfield. That's when the PS5 players might get it. So if you want to wait until 2026 on a maybe or a whim or a wish, sure, go ahead and wait. Or, take one of your $5,000 PCs that some of them said they had and play it now. Like I would say is probably the best way to go overall. But yeah, will it come eventually? If it does, kudos to them for waiting. Me personally, I enjoyed I think it's like now I'm up to like 16 or 18 days in or something like that with all the playthroughs that I've got going simultaneously. And I'm still hoping that they do the like space station stuff. Like you can already do the base building and all that stuff. You can now do the customization on the inside of your starship. I want the space station thing next, and the land vehicles. Want to see how that is. But yeah, I would say if you're fine with waiting, wait another couple of years, maybe even more on the PS5 side. But I can understand why they would be willing to wait, considering the roadmap for PS5 right now isn't looking too exciting, other than maybe Astrobot, but that's supposed to be a pack-in with the PS5 Pro. But no, I would say let them wait. But I think it'll be by the time the next gen Xbox comes out, and at that point, do you want to play the last gen version, or would you rather just buy the next Xbox and get the latest and greatest? That's just my 2 cents.
Well, it's a great theory. Again, if you look at what's on their plate, Gamsley, they're doing a lot, right? The team is only so big. If you are continuing work on Starfield, and again, I have a story here that I pulled, of course, I like giving credit where credit is due. PureXbox.com is written by Fraser Gilbert. This was posted yesterday, and it goes into saying about how Todd Howard had confirmed year 2 for Starfield, including second big expansion, but keeping it with the whether or not it's going to release on PlayStation 5 anytime soon, based on the statement, the clear as day statement from Todd Howard about we are focusing on working what we have. I don't know if there could be another team, because Fuzzy brings up a great point. If there is going to be a PS5 Pro, that is another version that they're going to have to develop for. So you got PS5, you got PS5 Pro. Do they have the manpower, more specifically the time? And I don't think, based on Todd Howard's, wordage, that they do. And again, I go based simply on what he said, and it's clear we have our hands full taking care of all of these players and franchises. Does that scream no PS5 version, or am I overthinking it?
Well, the only reason why this would ever matter is if it takes away from content or new content coming to the platforms where all these games are being developed, right? So
Right.
if it means truly skipping out on features to make players happy where they are at the moment, and or new content, and or I don't know, whatever else they have in the pipeline, like he said, then yeah, it matters a lot, and probably we won't see it on other platforms anytime soon. I'm in agreement. I don't think we see this anytime soon. I think, like Fuzzy says, when a new generation comes out, if they skip a generation, right, they go in 2026, they start a new one. Maybe they look at, like, time has passed and all their games come out and their final DLC comes out for Starfield or whatever the thought process is, then I could see it coming to another platform or two. But if you're an Xbox fan, you get to play it right now, and that's all that matters. Enjoy the game; it's phenomenal. Shattered Space looks incredible. So, yeah, I think you're gonna wait a long time. I think this is one of the ones that Phil was talking about. The purchase of Bethesda was bringing new experience, like some experiences to Xbox fans that will stay exclusive for as long as possible. And I think this is one of them because it's a new IP created for the platforms that they're on right now, for a reason. And legacy titles like Elder Scrolls and stuff like that might be different. We saw it with Doom. So if Doom is going somewhere, I don't see why, Elder Scrolls something won't be coming at some point, day and date. But yeah, it's a new IP, and I think Xbox wants to keep it on their platform and identified with their platform as long as possible. But if push comes to shove and Phil says put it somewhere else, they're going to put it somewhere else. They're going to free up space. So